Hi guys, I'm back with another video tutorial, this time on the way how I process one of my images from this morning's shoot. I woke up at around 4:40 a.m. I picked my locations before and went to one of those. The sun was still down and I was waiting for perfect sunrise, which unfortunately didn't happen, so nothing really special. But what I wanted to show you that even when I was shooting at dawn and there wasn't too big contrast between the foreground and the sky, I still had to use 5 exposures, this being the brightest one and this being the darkest one, to get all the detail I need in the final image. This is the general exposure that you may start up with, where everything is quite okay exposed. This part might be a little bit under, but that's the reason why I took this overexposed image to get enough details also in it. Anyway, the way how I process it is that I loaded all the images as a separate layers, and using layer masks I manually blended into an HDR image. This is the image that I blended it into, and you can see I had some trouble with the moon, so I added another layer and fixed the moon. Everything is quite dull, which was a little bit problem, but I merged it. Then I copied the bottom layer and played with water. I wanted to make it really silk and smooth to get that long exposure look on it. I also decreased the brightness, played a little bit with it, increased contrast. Then I added Mix Color Effects Pro with using a Pro Contrast plugin. Really nice. I just added a contrast on normal and then a dynamic contrast, and it worked wonders for this image. I started getting some issues with color. Just check out these yellows. They are really aggressive and I needed to tone them down. That's the reason why I used hue and saturation, where I decreased just yellows, and it gave me a little bit more decent and more natural looking colors. And then because this part is quite dull, I added a contrast using S-curve, but changed the blend mode to luminosity. Otherwise, if I wouldn't do it, just check this out, I will have another problem with colors, and not just the yellows but also the magentas in the International Theater. So by changing it into luminosity, you will affect only the brightness levels, not the color levels. Let's just zoom back out. Again, merged everything together, and using a clone tool I removed these branches on the side, which really bothered me. So I cloned it out using a patch tool that you can find under the spot healing brush. If you haven't ever used it, go for it, it's really nice too. But it wasn't perfect. The transition here is quite a bad edge, and here you can see the other part, so I copied this part from the reflection, put it over it, and blended basically both of those together. I then merged everything together to get one separate image, and on it I applied a graduated filter, which was really nice. I used one of their presets. I modified the opacity and also modified a little bit the blending, because they had it quite aggressive and I wanted it quite subtle blend from basically the bright side of the sky into the darker one. And then I added Glamour Glow. The problem is with Glamour Glow, almost any time you will use it, you will lose contrast. I wanted to use it on the foreground, on the water, on the sky, which will give it a little bit different feel. but not too much on the buildings and architecture itself. This is the reason why I added a layer mask, and you cannot see it doesn't make a huge difference on the architecture. On some parts, yes, but not so dramatic. I'm just turning it off and on again. But where it makes difference is in the water, especially in highlights and shadows. Just take a look on this highlight and on this shadow, how it changes when I turn it on and off. Really subtle, but nice change. The next thing is brightness. I increased brightness, increased contrast to get everything how I wanted it. And then I just added some sharpness and a little bit of curves on this part of logs that I figured out I missed a little bit. But anyway, that's not too much important, just a quick fix. Post-processing this image took me around 40 minutes. It wasn't the quickest one. That's all from me. So see you later, and thanks for watching.